I'm Jimi Hendrix, and this is a special episode. How to create better thought patterns on Empower Your Pattern. Did you know that there are success patterns that can help you become more empowered so that you can live a better and extraordinary life? Hi, I'm Jimi Hendrix. I'm a motivational speaker. I am a confidence, success, and drive coach. And I want you to know that your patterns can be empowered if they go by the certain set success patterns that mean a lot. So, come along and join me. Well, folks, I have made the decision that as much as I possibly can, I am sitting here in my writer's man cave. Which is separate from my house. That way, I'm not disturbing anybody, and nobody is disturbing me. Okay? Now, I'm keeping a lot of these episodes unnumbered until around the 12th of April, when we start going more back into the season. But those of you in the church know that today and tomorrow is General Conference. I am so excited. I can't wait to hear to get some revelation about some certain areas in my life that I'm concerned about. But anyway, I know that there's, regardless of what faith you are, I know that there's some certain areas that you're concerned about. And you're probably wondering, well, Jimmy, how can I create new and better thought patterns? Well, I gotta say, it's not always easy, but it's worth it. I think part of our thought patterns has to do with, in some ways, our background. Some things that, whether said or unsaid, you believe that, well, it's always just gonna be this way. And that person isn't going to change regarding what you want, and therefore, my meaning to that was just give it up, okay? And so, I'm going to give you two concepts I learned in the Matt Landmark Forum to show you the problematic areas in our thought patterns. Excuse me, I'm going to move from the couch in my man cave to the captain's chair. I feel like I can podcast a lot better in a captain's chair. Pardon the noise. This is a motorhome. But anyway, I digress. The fact of the matter is this. It's the thoughts, the stories behind the thoughts, and the meanings that we give those thoughts. That's been a problem. This morning, I couldn't sleep. I had woke up. Had a lot on my mind. So I watched this movie I have watched time and time again since 2003. The movie's called The Pentagon Papers. I was able to get a hold of it on YouTube. Now, unless it is a blockbuster movie on success or of spiritual matters, I am not in the business of recommending movies, okay? I want a disclaimer right here, right now. I am not in the business of recommending movies. Now, that being said, I'm going to give you the story. This is a true story. Daniel Ellsberg. Basically, I felt like he was acting according to his own thought patterns. He had one thing he had admitted to his girlfriend at the time, who he eventually married, after his divorce. He admitted to his girlfriend that his mother was like a dominating figure who demanded that he become some kind of concert pianist. And he felt like he was called to do something great, and that's why he was, first with the Rand Corporation and now for the U.S. government, being an observer in Vietnam. And as the movie progresses, you could tell his thought pattern was to challenge, to question. Now, at first, he was like carbon copy, just basically go along with the flow with everybody else. But you notice before he gets sent to Saigon, Assistant Defense Secretary for International Affairs, John McNaughton, tells him to throw out the assumptions. And that's one way to make better thought patterns is to, as John McNaughton puts it, ask the right questions and throw out the assumptions. Because the assumptions, really, this is my opinion, the assumptions are the things that give meaning around some of our thoughts, especially whether the worst is the negative thinking, okay? The negative thinking. And so as I watched the movie even further, he became more challenging. He became more defiant. His girlfriend, who had become his wife, was backing him up, despite the fact that governmental national security agencies and Department of Justice was bearing down on him for releasing the Pentagon Papers, which, ironically, the reason why I watched that movie is because it's a subject matter on a case that I studied when I was in college. And so that's why it was important to me. Now, I will not, the one reason why I will not recommend this movie is, there is a scene in which I prefer to hide my eyes. That's one thing. And then, of course, Ellsberg, toward the middle of the end of the movie, puts the Lord's name in vain. But, like I said in episode 31, and I'll say it's the cows come home, I'm not too kindly disposed to talk much about what goes on in Hollywood. But the thing that I can tell you about that particular movie is that I learned from him to throw out any inner assumptions that I've had. Then, of course, toward the end of the movie, before his charges get dropped, he questioned everything. He questioned everything that he stood for. And it's just sad. But the movie had a happy ending. So thank goodness about that. But you're probably saying, well, Jimmy, how does that help me find new thought patterns? Well, you ask the right questions of yourself. You define the assumptions. I want you to go back to episode 3. Episode 3, I talked about the CAP method. Choose, act, pursue happiness. And sometimes, and I know the 31st of this month, I was having a particularly bad day. And, certain people were like, you know what, we're getting sick of hearing about that. I got to deal with this. So, like I said in episode 3, if you're having bad thoughts, them critters are not going to leave you alone. If you just leave them behind in the dust, they're like, well, we're going to stay here and keep spewing our venom until you deal with us. And so, the best thing I can say is you deal with the negative thoughts right then and there. Now, for those of you who don't have the time to listen to episode 3, I'm going to go ahead and go through it. Now, I have been working on this particular CAP method for about, ironically, beginning in 1992, nearly about 29 years. That still blows me away. And it has evolved from a dry cognitive therapy log, according to this book by Feeling Good, the New Mood Therapy by David D. Burns, MD. Anytime my own feel, at first it was record of dysfunctional thoughts. Then when I found it empower your pattern, it turned into regular negative thoughts. And then I got this concept from Kurt Duncan about dragon slayers. I thought, well, you know what? And I went to, one of my best friends and told him about it as I was thinking about adopting. He said, Jimmy, you can't call it that. That's his idea. You can't call it that. I said, well, how about critters? He said, there you go. In the way you're a country boy, Jimmy. Call it what it is. So, here's the thing. Here's the beauty of it, okay? You get a chance to challenge them critters. So you do critterotomy, under it's a journal entry, okay? You do the date in the file or whatever you want to. Then you do critterotomy. Then you do time of entry, whatever time is on your watch or cell phone or whatever. And then the R-E, which is the subject line, you write about what exactly has this got you frustrated. And then you do a summary, you talk about how things built up. And then after that, it used to be automatic thoughts. Now it's called critters. You put in center critters, and you go down as far as you can with each one. I'll give you a sample one. 1. I can't believe how terribly bad this day is. No one ever listens to me. And then what I'll do in parentheses is put rats in maze thinking and discounting the positive. And then I do logical reasoning, and then that's why I kind of cancel out that thought. Now, you're probably thinking, well, Jimmy, where do you come up with rats in maze thinking? Okay, listen to me. I want you to think of positive thinking as your pecan pie thinking. Your pecan pie thinking, because that's a West Texas delicacy around these parts. You know what I mean? It's sweet, it's tasty, it's wonderful. You absolutely love every bite. And then there's the rats in the maze. It's kind of, oh man, this is terrible. I'm in a dead end. I'm trapped. This is awful. So there you go. What you're trying to do with these critterotomies is trying to cancel out these critters, which the vast majority of them, of course, there's some other labels to them, but rats in maze thinking is a big part of it. And then you cancel that out with logical reasoning. Even the gospel response, those of you in the church or Christian, use a verse from scripture in the Bible that kind of explains things. And then you go through all of the thoughts that you're having, cancel them out that way, and then at the bottom, you say choose. You write down some of the things that you're choosing. Then you choose act. And then you write down a plan of action. And then pursue happiness. You write a thought that's going to help you pursue happiness. Now, granted, after I did the critterotomy, not everything that day was perfect. It kind of went down in flames, but there have been days where I've had critterotomies and things have actually turned around. But the thing is, you got to challenge those negative thoughts. You got to ask yourself the right questions. You got to throw out the assumptions, okay? Because it's the assumptions, I think, that give you the meaning for what it is, when really what you need is more of a positive meaning, okay? One thing that this reactive culture is big on, and this is something that's taught in Landmark about the is reality, kind of like a constant. That's the way it is, or that's the way it's always been. No, come on. You cancel out that is reality, okay? You cancel out that is reality, and that gives you the best that you can possibly have. Now, I certainly hope that you enjoyed listening to Empower Your Pattern. If you like what you hear,